Greetings, YouTube. I frequently discuss religion. It's a topic that interests me, and, at least in America, it shows up in the news quite a bit. And I find myself often defending minority religious groups, both here in the United States and those that exist in Europe. And when I do this, two things invariably happen. One, everyone thinks I'm Muslim. I'm not Muslim, folks. This is just hair. It has no religious significance whatsoever. I can't grow it here, so I grow it here. That's its only significance. I'm bald. I like having some hair on my head. And the second is that people seem to confuse my defense of individual people as a defense of organized religion. And while I will always come to the defense of those who are trying to seek a safe haven to practice their religious faith, their spirituality, you will never see me defend organized religion. That's because I'm not really fond of organized religion. And that's a real understatement. I pretty much consider organized religion as one of the great evils that has befallen humanity. So when I'm discussing, for example, Muslims that I feel are being adversely affected by a law in Switzerland, I'm speaking about individual Muslim people. I'm not discussing Islam as an organized faith or as an abstract concept. And I'm not discussing nations that are Muslim majorities when I'm discussing Switzerland. I'm just discussing Switzerland. I did a video recently about a woman that was stoned to death in Somalia because it dealt with a Muslim majority that was, in my opinion, committing crimes against humanity. And that's when I discussed an area that was controlled by Muslims. So I'm very specific when I say these things. And when people say, well, you know, this group A did bad things over here, so it's okay if we do bad things against them in our nation, it doesn't cut it with me. An immoral act is an immoral act regardless of where you are or why you commit it. But you see, the whole idea that organized religions use the faith of their followers against them may be considered a feature of organized religion, but it's a bug, not a feature, when it comes to faith amongst individuals. Individual people can have spiritual beliefs, have strong religious beliefs, and they don't have to also oppress others. There doesn't have to be negative connotations when you're dealing with things on a one-to-one basis. There can, of course, but it's much easier to be human. It's much more easy to extend empathy, sympathy, and compassion to others when you deal with them on a one-to-one basis. It's much harder to do that when you start using great big blocks of people, which is how organized religion functions, as great big amorphous blocks of people under the control of usually a small number of people in power. And whenever you put any kind of power into someone's hand, they are going to abuse it. And they're going to take that power, in this case religious power, and they're going to convince people to do bad things, to do evil in the name of their faith. But this isn't a new concept. Whether it's Islamic jihadists, if you'd like to call them that, convincing people to commit atrocities against their fellow man in the form of restricting women's rights to education, stoning them to death, or blowing people up, or Catholics wiping out the Cathars, or the oracle at Delphi being used as a justification to invade your neighbor. It's been going on for the entire existence of our species. It isn't anything new. It is true that at the moment, the most frequent religion you hear in the news that are being accused of doing this is Islam. But it happens in the United States with Christians as well. Dr. George Tiller was murdered recently because someone decided that his God decided that Tiller should die while Tiller was standing in his own church. I guess that whole pro-life thing is kind of a mutable concept. So when you hear me speak about individual people and the religious freedoms I think that they should have, and in fact that the UN has stated that they should have. It's considered a human right. I'm not talking about organized religions. I'm not defending the Christians as a big giant block. I'm not defending the Muslims as a big giant block. I'm talking about people, individual persons. And they're the rights that I need to defend. They're the rights that you need to defend. The big organizations, they don't need our defense. But the people in the street, the ones you walk by on your way to work and school, they need your help. They need your defense. They need your sympathy, your empathy, and your compassion. Thank you.